on Tuesday morning, Pete Nakos and Steve Wiltfong report that Sam Leavitt, who is out for the season with an injury right now, is doubtful to return to Arizona State, but likely would wind up somewhere else in college. This would be huge because Sam Leavitt, you saw him lead Arizona State to a Big 12 title last year, damn near led him to a win against Texas in the Peach Bowl, was playing well this year, is the only quarterback who has solved that Texas Tech defense, by the way. So now he could be on the market.
Yeah, when I saw this tweet, mine went 19 different directions, Andy, and I don't know what direction you want to go in first, but the first direction wasn't, wow, we have a really good player in the portal. It's like, wow, this sucks. I don't know if you are in that camp with me, but I got a lot of college football is broken texts from people. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where you
and
land
you grew up in Scottsdale, so a lot of people you grew up around are Arizona State fans are around that. That's their program. And and
a lot of responses on Twitter from random non-Ohio State fans too kind of resented it. And I think that we need to understand, and we don't yet because this is brand new, why he would want to leave. And of course that opens trapdoor number 2, which is Kenny Dillingham going to leave? Like there's a lot of layers to this that are really, really interesting to sift through. Now, the one thing I will say is that if nothing is wrong at Arizona State and Kenny Dillingham does decide and want to stay there long term, I think this is just another illustration of just how freaking hard it is to build a program. Mm-hmm. Like you have a quarterback, you do something that Arizona State hasn't done in 20 years last year. You're returning the quarterback that was a main part of that run, who everybody wants and knows is good. Obviously, things have gone tremendously bad for them. And still, with the bad luck that they've had this year,
they're still alive, Ari.
And they're still alive in the Big 12 hunt, which is another, I think, illustration of why Dillingham's an attractive coach. But like, how is Arizona State supposed to build something that is year over year good if that is not a place that a really good quarterback would want to stay? Again, we don't know the reason why. We don't, maybe things have just gone poorly and he needs a fresh start. I don't know. But like, it just, back in the day, if you had the right guy, you had that guy for 3 years and you could try to build while the players are on your team or on your team. You can lose your best player at any moment, not just from injury anymore, but because they decide they don't want to be there anymore. So it's an unfortunate thing. And, what's he just going to go end up at an SEC team or Miami again next year? And then we're going to start over. Like, I think that the entire feature of the portal was that more teams were able to get good players than they were able to before. But if you're a team that's considered middle of the pack and you have a great player, then it's harder to keep them too. Like, it's a two-way street.
Right. Now, they could break the bank and keep him. But the problem is Miami can spend a ton of money too and put more talent around him. Some SEC school or Big Ten school can put more talent around him. Remember, Sam Leavitt didn't start out at Arizona State. He started at Michigan State. And Jonathan Smith got the job. He brought in Aiden Childs, and Sam Leavitt was the odd man out in that situation. So he's been through this process before. The difference is he's going through this process now as maybe the most wanted guy in the portal. There will be other quarterbacks who enter the portal, probably high-profile ones, but I'm not sure there will be one that is as accomplished as Sam Leavitt already.
And then you say like put more talent around him, and it's like, yeah, you're probably right, but they also had like Jordan Tyson and Cam Scadaboo on the same team last year. Like,
they did.
Is it that hard to? If you're Arizona State,
would you rather have Arizona State's offensive line blocking for you or Miami's offensive line blocking?
Miami's, no question. I'm not saying you're wrong about it, but
I mean, that's the thing. Like, you can, and you're the one who always says the Rudy story doesn't exist, and everybody wants it to, but it doesn't in reality, and that's the truth. So the Rudy story is all these guys would just stay at their schools and wouldn't take more money and wouldn't go to a place where they thought they could win a national championship and wouldn't go to a place where they thought they could play better with better players. But the fact of the matter is that's what all of them are doing.
Yeah. Is the lesson here, if you are a middle or lower tier program, the way that Arizona State was when Kenny Dillingham took over, that your best shot at ever tasting success is catching lightning in a bottle? Like, how is Arizona State supposed to build something with lasting results and consistent results if this is just like, oh, well, I'd rather go play behind Miami's offensive line. Somebody's always going to have more. Yeah. How are you going to build it so that you can have sustainability? Now, we've seen multiple times teams pop out of nowhere. And maybe this is just another reminder of how much of a genius Curt Cignetti might just be, right? Because they are doing it 2 years in a row. But I feel bad for Arizona State fans. Like, that's just
100%.
Dude. Like,
it does suck.
It sucks.
Now, look, Vandy kept Diego Pavia, so it's not impossible. Sometimes the guy stays. And Leavitt stayed this year. Leavitt could have left after last year.
Yeah. Which brings us to the next point.
This is, and probably the bigger conversation.
I don't know that he is leaving because he's getting a sense that Dillingham is leaving, but I wonder if Dillingham feels a sense of being defeated by this, which then opens his mind to, I can't live like this anymore, which then opens his mind to, I'm ready to try something different. Now, we have to talk about his background for the 100th time because it's important. Kenny Dillingham is from Arizona. He grew up and went to Arizona State. This program is closer to his heart than just like randomly finding success there. This isn't like a Lane Kiffin scenario. So that is the selling point. But if somebody calls him, and we spent a lot of time talking about who's the coach that is going to get the guaranteed contract from the big school overspending because they're desperate, who's going to be this year's Lincoln Riley, who's going to be this year's Brian Kelly, who leaves a place that we think they're ingratiated in and just surprises people. And like, now that I think about it, like Kenny Dillingham might be the closest thing we have to that in this cycle.
Well, and this cycle has a lot of accomplished coaches who are at their alma maters, but their alma maters are not traditional powers. So that would be Kenny Dillingham. That would be Brent Key at Georgia Tech. That would be Jeff Brom at Louisville. That would be Clark Lee at Vanderbilt. These are all guys that are at their alma maters right now, but their alma maters aren't considered destination jobs. So would they leave for something that is considered a destination job? Like if LSU or somebody like that wanted Kenny Dillingham, is he willing to listen? Because I don't think just any old school could get him out of Arizona State, but I think a really good job could. If you want to go to the game that has the biggest impact on the college football playoff this week, we think that game is in Eugene, Oregon. And you can get in there in the $100. You can get into Autzen Stadium. Now, if you want really good seats, you're spending, maybe $300, $400, $500. But you can get in there in the mid hundreds if you want to be in the building to watch USC play against Oregon. And it is going to be a spectacular game. I can't wait. Old Pac-12 vibes, great uniforms, great everything. It's going to be so cool. You can also get some fairly reasonably priced tickets to watch Missouri at Oklahoma, which, listen, that was a weird game they played last year. If Missouri upsets Oklahoma, it has massive playoff implications. If Oklahoma keeps winning, massive playoff implications if you're an Oklahoma fan, because it means you just keep on rolling. And if you beat LSU, you're definitely in. So go to gametime.co, download the Gametime app, redeem the code STAPLES when you sign up, and you get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So download the Gametime app, type your event. The price you see, by the way, is the price you get. They don't tack on stupid fees afterward. Use the code STAPLES and get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. All right.
I think there's another aspect to this, and I'm going to sound like a snob, so just bear with me. But we had a conversation internally yesterday as a company about doing a who gets to go to the Fiesta Bowl raffle. And you sent the link to the JW Marriott on Lincoln in Camelback that everybody
the Camelback Inn. Yep.
Yeah. 5-star resort that hosts the media for
I'm the only sports writer in the world who doesn't get it. Like, I've stayed there. It's fine. It's not that great. But the other sports writers they think it is like the greatest hotel in the history of the world.
I love it there. But
sure, but there are other really nice hotels within 5 miles that are just as nice, if not nicer.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah, I've stayed in a few of them. Yeah, if you mean like why is it better than the other ones that are directly near it, then okay, we can have that conversation.
Yeah, like the Scottsdale Princess or something like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, okay. I thought you meant like I don't understand why people like Scottsdale. In my head almost.
No, I love Scottsdale.
Okay,
100%.
You know what the rate is for that hotel this week?
$800.
Because my wife has business there, and I think she might be going. Guess what the rate is for that hotel on Wednesday, tomorrow night?
$850.
More.
Oh, $1,200.
More.
$1,600.
You're over now. It's a $1,450.
Wow.
And I'm just saying this as an illustration of like Kenny Dillingham gets to live there. Like that's part of it too. It's like some of the alma maters, and I get like the heartstring pull. Like he is somebody who grew up in Scottsdale and left Scottsdale. I am somebody who grew up in Scottsdale and left Scottsdale. You don't appreciate what you have while you're there until you leave. I think he has appreciated what he has now. Like it is a really amazing place to live. And like, I don't know about other cities and other alma maters, but like you also get to live in a place where when people get big payouts at work or retire, want to move there. And I think that like, that's not overrated. I think that's a thing. So I don't know, but like, this is the column that I wrote while me and you were together in Nashville during championship weekend last year. It's all well and good to say you like mountains and 72-degree weather in January. But if LSU calls and says, we'll give you $100 million to coach us, all of a sudden the warm and fuzzy feeling about being in the mountains goes away.
Suddenly State College, Pennsylvania looks very attractive as a residence.
Yeah. So I don't know. And if I were somebody who was trying to build something, like when I bought my parents bought my daughter for her birthday a dollhouse, and it was the worst 4 hours of my life putting the thing together. If somebody would have come into the room while I'm trying to build the thing and taken an essential piece of it away from me and said, keep trying to build it without this, I would kick it down and want to leave.
Right. So, or you went to the store, got another piece, used it for a while, and then overnight someone stole it again.
And maybe that's an oversimplification of the situation, but I can understand being a coach. What's the number one frustration of any coach when they're in a job?
Personnel, players, Jimmys and Joes. And always.
I think that you can also just kind of boil that back down to, do we have enough support or enough money or enough fan buy-in or enough administrative buy-in to get those players and keep them? And if he ever gets a feeling like this isn't working for me, then I can understand why you might open your eyes to that. So I don't know. This is all speculation. My understanding and my assumption was that he wanted to stay there long term, and I've been operating under that assumption. But my assumption doesn't mean shit if somebody calls him with a blank check at a traditional program. And like, listen, we also have to acknowledge too that there are a lot of big jobs open right now, and not a lot of candidates to fill them. So that means desperation and finances are going to go through the roof. And if Lane Kiffin sets the new job market with the circus that he's going through under right now, and Kenny Dillingham can get 90% of that because of desperation, which he still might be able to. Who knows? It's just, you have to think about it.
You absolutely do. You're actually irresponsible to yourself if you don't, but it does suck. I want people to understand it sucks.
I'm going to make people mad. I've made people mad when I said this about Oklahoma and USC and Lincoln Riley. It's not better to live in Auburn, Alabama than Scottsdale. So, and I've never even been there. I know for a fact.
It's better to live in Auburn, Alabama if you're winning national titles.
So that's the thing. My thought was maybe this crazy son of a bitch is going to figure it out and do it in Tempe. If he ever gets to a point where he feels like he's at the end of the road and you can't go any further, and as a competitive person and somebody who is doing this for a living wants to win national titles and he feels like he has maxed himself out, then your only option is to go live in Auburn, Alabama.
Yeah.
And try to get those things. And I don't know if he's there yet. This is just a conversation, just guys being dudes on a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But I was frustrated for him this morning when I saw this.
Yeah. I'm with you, because I do think his intention when he went to Arizona State was to be at Arizona State, not to use it as a stepping stone for anything else. But would it be understandable to you if, because the circumstances changed in the way they did, he looks at it differently now?
And my hope for him is that there's nothing that could ever happen where he doubts himself or doubts his program. But if you asked LeBron James in an honest moment, he might have even said this publicly. I'm not an NBA head that like clings to every word he says. Which championship means the most to him? I bet you it's Cleveland.
The Cleveland one. Gotta be.
So, like, if you ask Kenny Dillingham, would you rather win the national title at Auburn, or would you rather win the national title at LSU or any of the other jobs that are open, or win the Big 12 5 years in a row and make Arizona State consistently good and become a legend at your home? What would you rather do? I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
But, we always talk about national championships in this realm because that's what people are driven by. But I also wonder if somebody can be at a place long-term, never win a national title, but still be the greatest coach that ever coached there and build it up to a place. Like, that's a pretty good existence too. Like, I don't know if the end of the road has to be national title. There are a lot of coaches who coach for 30 years who never get a national title. It's hard. It's elusive. And for a long time there, the same group of 5 teams were the ones winning it. If your hope is that this new era is going to usher in parity like we've never seen before, then maybe he should not feel that way. So it's confusing. It's deep. But my hope for Arizona State and the people that I know who love them and all the people who love college football is that maybe another program can just keep their freaking guy and actually build something rather than it just being, okay, well, young hotshot coach who has already done more with less goes to LSU. It's like, okay, LSU is going to be LSU no matter who they hire. Like, why don't we let some of the young bright stars in the sport actually stay somewhere long enough to build something new so that there's a new program to talk about? Because if he leaves ASU, then it goes back to relative obscurity and we talk about them once a month if something crazy happens, and other than that we don't talk about them. It's been fun talking about it.
Exactly. Ari, I will give Arizona State some immediate hope for right now. They play Colorado this week. Territorial Cup against Arizona's next week. If Arizona State wins both these games and BYU loses to Cincinnati or UCF, Arizona State is playing for the Big 12 title against Texas Tech, a team they've already beaten.